Welcome to my podcast. I'm Natalia Schneimler, and I help women eliminate all the fighting in their relationships, especially the ones with their son, by teaching them how to manage their own mind so that when anything comes up in life, they know exactly how to handle it, what to do to take care of themselves so that then they can show up in their relationships in a loving way and not cause any fights. So let's go. Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Mother's Day. If you've had one recently, we just had one in Canada this past weekend, and my boys were the sweetest. My husband helped them. He got them 4 individual flowers to give to me in the morning, which is so sweet. He's done that a couple times before, and it's just the best. I love it so much. One of my boys actually wrote me a card in Russian, and he doesn't speak Russian, but he's been learning all on his own, and he even wrote me a whole card in Russian, which was so sweet and unexpected. And my little twinsies wrote me little beautiful cards that they made in school, made me bracelets. And my middle one made me a beautiful dinner with my husband. And it was just full of surprises. I didn't expect anything. And I usually don't love these holidays because they're kind of forced, right? Like, here you go. Now you have to celebrate something. But I'm kind of coming around to it, and I enjoyed it. So I hope you had a good one too. And I hope you appreciate all the things you do. And, don't wait for your family to appreciate it. Just appreciate it yourself, because that is what will make you feel appreciated when you appreciate all your work. And that's how I felt this week. I felt like I appreciate it and also they appreciate it. So I'm wishing that for you. So today I want to talk to you about, I helped my son in this one situation a week ago or so, and I want to really just share with you because not only is it helpful for helping with your child, but also with yourself. And I'm going to share this one technique with you that is very specific, very applicable, and you can just use it today. So I'm going to tell you about the situation that happened with my son. And it was in the evening, and I put him to bed, and he was super happy. Everything went well. And then maybe 10 minutes later, he came downstairs and told me that he's having this feeling that it feels really bad, and he just can't take it. It just feels so bad. And I said, okay, let's go. I'll tuck you back in. He said, no, I don't want to go. So he's had it a couple times, this feeling, and he's described it. It said, it feels like the opposite of calm, like everything is moving fast. And it just felt like maybe, I don't know how to describe it myself, but basically a feeling, any feeling that you feel like you literally cannot stand. You're like, I'm willing to do anything right now to not feel this feeling. And I've had it maybe sometimes when I'm too worried or too scared or maybe too anxious. Like you could use it maybe in an anxiety attack or panic attack. You can apply this. Okay. So, and in this particular instance, I use this technique, but this technique, it doesn't always work, and it's just one of the tools that you can use sometimes to try. And I will also list other ways that I've also tried to help my son with this, and some of them worked well, some not so well, and it just depends on the timing, and you need to feel which one is more appropriate when, because I've used different techniques with him in different times, but this one worked extremely well this time, and it just came to me unforced, and it was the perfect timing for this technique, and I've also used it for myself. So, and I call this technique, name all the things you see. And I really can't remember where I learned it from, because I obviously learned it from someone. So whoever it is, thank you so much, because it's really helpful. So because this technique is called name all the things, what you do is actually exactly what it sounds like. So I did it with my son, and I guided him through it. And I started naming, we were sitting in a living room on the couch hugging, and I explained it to him, and then I started naming things I saw for him. For example, I said, carpet, window, floor, table, kitchen, like chair, container, right? So I kept on going. I think I actually listed everything I saw in the room. So I don't know how long it took me, maybe a minute, maybe 2. around that time. And I did it in that tone, like slow, taking a little break between each, because I wanted my son's brain to follow my lead. And the purpose of naming all the things like that, all you see, is to have your brain focus on things that you don't have a feeling about. And when you do that, you get to feel neutral. After a while, you want to get out of feeling really, really bad, and you want to get out of feeling really, really resistant to that feeling, bad feeling. And by naming all the things that you see that you don't have feelings about, you get to, first of all, distract your mind from the bad feeling. And then you get to practice feeling of neutrality, right? Like most of us don't really have a feeling about a wall or a carpet or a table or a chair. And actually, when the time came to my eyes came to the dishwasher, I did not say dishwasher because I'm sure my son has a feeling about a dishwasher because it's his responsibility to empty it daily. So I was very careful not to talk about stuff that I think he might have a feeling about. But if you do, of course, you can move on to the next thing. So don't be too worried about making a mistake. It's just one of the tools I want you to have so that you can guide your mind away from a feeling that you really can't stand. And I've used it for myself when I was too worried or too scared. And a lot of times I noticed from me, my son, it comes up when we're really tired, which is okay. And it's really good to know this about yourself. So then again, you notice it. You're like, oh, I'm having this bad feeling that I can't stand and I'm really tired. Maybe I just use this technique now because I know this doesn't mean anything. I just know that I act like this when I'm really tired. So this is what I did with my son for a minute or two, and I listed all the things. And by the end of I ran out of things to talk about, to list. He was actually, he had a smile and he was laughing about the things I was saying. So it worked really well. Not only did we get to neutral, actually, he actually felt a little bit giddy, like he thought it was funny, some things I listed. But it was great. The point is that it actually worked. And after that, I took him to bed and he fell asleep and never came down again. But I know that in other instances where he had a similar situation, where he had a feeling he couldn't stand, I used other techniques and they weren't as effective, but they did help. But this time it was extremely effective. Like it actually got him out of the feeling, distracted, and feeling good. And I was super happy as well that he now knows this technique as well. He can do for himself because he's not only knows it theoretically, but he actually experienced it on himself. So as you hear me talking about this, please do keep in mind that this works really well for yourself as well, right? When you are feeling something you can't stand. So that's what I wrote down. And now I'm going to just list a couple other things that I use for my son in similar situations that are also tools you can have in your tool belt. And I have talked about them before in a podcast, but I'm just going to list them here. So, the concept of 50-50. If you have that tool in mind, this concept that life is 50% positive and 50% terrible, then when your son comes to you and tells you he's feeling terrible, first of all, you're not going to freak out. You're going to know it's totally normal to feel terrible. And so that's going to be really helpful just to have that normal reaction to it instead of freaking out and saying, oh no, we must fix it, blah, 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 right? And you can even tell him this is normal, the life is partly terrible. You're supposed to feel terrible 50% of the time. So that's just a helpful tool always, I believe, right? And to remember, 50-50. I call it 50-50. I learned it from Brooke Castillo. She's amazing. She's helped me so much with just this one teaching. The other one is, it's a part of another tool you can ask your son is, why are you feeling this way? And when you're asking them that, you're actually looking for a sentence or a thought that's causing this feeling. This one might not be the most effective in this particular situation because he's already feeling it really, really deeply, right? When you are overcome by emotion, Sometimes it's best to just process the emotion, to feel it, and to talk about it, and to just let it be instead of getting all analytical. But it is one of the tools that I have used and you can use, and you can just ask him and find out why and then move on, right? Maybe it's just ask him, he'll tell you why, and then you can move on to processing it. But it is an important tool to know that there is a thought that's causing his feeling. Songs are a great way also to distract your mind. Just like the technique I described about naming all the things, songs are also a great way to distract your mind and get it to feel neutral or neutral, good neutral, positive neutral, because they are guiding your mind to follow the song, and predictability of the song calms down the mind. Familiarity of the song calms it down. So I've definitely done that many times. Then also I tell him, I'm here for you and I'll be here for you until it's over. And just having that comfort for him and that he's not alone in this, that nothing terrible is happening, and that it's okay, we can do this together. So that's just telling him that. And I'm sure as a mom, you've done that before. You know how to do that. But it's just something that I do as well. Also, sleep. Knowing that your child needs sleep, right? Then that can help you understand that maybe this is all this means is that your child needs sleep. So how can I get him to sleep faster right now? So it could be, petting his head, singing him a song, or maybe leaving and knowing that he'll go to sleep. It's another tool that the sleep will solve this feeling because his body is just overtired. Listening. One of the amazing tools is always listening. So this part of this, last time what happened was when I used this technique, first I listened. And I didn't say anything. I didn't use any technique. I didn't tell him anything. I didn't think about anything. All I did was hold space. Maybe that's what this tool is called, is holding space. Just letting him be, letting him feel it, letting him talk about it, letting him sit there and not rushing out of it. So the another one is being okay with feeling really bad. For you as a mom, how good are you at feeling really bad feelings? It is a skill, right? So having that in your toolbox is going to help you be okay with your son feeling really bad. Because sometimes when your son feels really bad, you might feel really uncomfortable. And you have to be, and if you feel really uncomfortable with your son feeling bad, then you're going to be panicky, rushing. You're going to try to get him to feel better sooner. And that's not going to be very helpful. Because when you are kind of possessed by a feeling, you need to process it. You can't rush out of it until you fully felt it. So as this is my suggestion, invitation to you to also practice feeling the negative 50% of your life. And sometimes all that looks like is you noticing, okay, I'm feeling really uncomfortable right now. And when my son feels bad, I feel uncomfortable. And that's the first amazing step that you can do, just acknowledging, I feel really uncomfortable. Another great technique is asking him to describe it. I've done that as well with him, and I don't think it was as effective as the naming all the things, but it definitely got him to pay attention and slow it down for himself. So what this technique does is it helps you put your attention on the feeling that you're trying to avoid. Where usually when you feel really bad, and my son felt bad, you try to escape it. You try to get away from it as fast as possible. So it actually persists longer when you do that. So paying your attention to the feeling will actually help you move through it a lot faster. And that's actually with any feeling. When we try to escape it, it lingers longer because it wants to be felt. So questions I ask my son is, where do you feel it? If it was a shape, what shape would it be? What color is it? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it moving fast, or is it moving slow, or is it not moving? And of course, you need to really use your common sense, like you're feeling in the moment, whether he's open to the questions. And yeah, of course, sometimes he will tell you, I don't want to talk about this anymore. That's totally fine. Let it be, right? But if he's willing, then that can really bring his attention to the feeling and help him process it. And then he will come out of it sooner. So those are all the techniques that I've used on myself and my son, and I hope this really helps you. Of course, some of these techniques are more useful with older kids, and some of them are more useful with younger kids, like songs, of course, would be more appropriate for younger kids, and like talking about life being 50-50 is maybe more appropriate with older, but I would try them all and keep them all in your mind so that you can then help yourself and your son when you have these late nights feeling that overwhelm you that you don't want to be feeling. But remember, our goal is always to guide ourselves through the feeling and not away from the feeling, because that is what actually works. Guiding ourselves away from it will not work as well. So I hope this was helpful to you. Let me know how I can help you more. You know that I'm always here for you, to help you with your relationship with your son and help him through his tough moments. And having these tools is something that can make a big difference for us as moms when our sons bring us big emotions. So you can always find me at my website, www.coachingnatalia.com. I'm happy to have a chat with you anytime. You can sign up for a free session with me. Just go to sign up for a free session, pick a time that works for you, and we'll talk, and I'll be happy to help you. I love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll chat with you next week. Bye.